And the consequence of that should not be any kind of harm brought to that person. But what makes you think any of that is good for the country in which you live? And you can mourn an act without mourning the person. Like I said, I believe anybody can have a redemption. Anybody can have a redeeming moment. So I don't want to see anybody get hurt or killed, because I want you to live long enough to see that you were wrong. I want to live long enough to have to get the opportunity to debate you. I want you to live long enough for that. But I don't think you should have said that stuff in the first place. And I know on some level you know it's wrong, but it's a payday in it. And then you run around and you call yourself a Christian. And then you run around and say, I got a good family. And you don't think about, we have families too. And they have to endure all of this misinformation and all of this dehumanization that you put out on the airways every day. America has decided which direction it wants to go in. This doesn't work. It's never worked. It's always created somebody getting beat with a stick on the floor of the house or whatever. But there's something about this country, they kind of seem to just like not care about it. Right? Well, it'll be all right. We don't, Well, political speech should always, let me tell you something. The Wilkes Booth, whatever, who killed Abe Lincoln was a Confederate. Somebody came out and said, well, the Democrats, they ain't the same Democrats and they ain't the same Republicans. The person who killed Abe Lincoln thought that if he did that, he could cause some kind of conflagration and the Confederacy would rise again. This is how some people in this country like to solve political problems, and they have done it forever, since the inception of this country. If you wanted to vote, if you were a part of a sharecropper union and you were trying to get people to vote, they would find you from a tree. During the Civil Rights Movement, people got ran off the road. They got hurt. They got maimed. They got killed. Don't tell me this is not how this country solves political conflicts. I've lived too long. Please don't tell me that political speech should be protected. It never has been. That assassination changed the trajectory of our lives. Because when Abe Lincoln got assassinated, we got left with a racist drunk as president who gave the Confederacy back to the Confederates. That changed the trajectory of our life. And that's what you do all the time with this violence. You change the trajectory of our lives. And whoever did this changed the trajectory of one family. And that's horrific. But you should think about that. And you should think about what you encourage America. You should think about the kind of language you encourage America. You should think about the kind of stuff that you do, the kind of way you think about, the way you deal with solving problems, the way you talk about guns. You should think about that, America. This isn't a problem that ADOS caused, and it's not a problem that we can solve. But we have been victimized by this kind of dehumanization language. When you go get a job and that person has listened to, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, or somebody talk about us in a dehumanizing way about our culture or whatever, it's just in the market. It's a market for ideas. There's some ideas that should be in the trash. There's some ideas that should not be in the marketplace no more, because nobody should be shopping for that no more. America needs to change. America needs to become a different kind of country. America needs to become a more thoughtful country and a less violent country. But then again, we have been saying that you've been slaying our leaders forever. So we've been saying that every time one of our leaders get gunned down, we say, America, what are you doing? I wonder, will this open any eyes to remake America instead of romanticizing the Civil War? Let me tell you something. That's another thing. Mr. Kirk, rest in peace, spent all of last week, like a lot of right-wingers, trying to stoke a civil war. We're living with animals. Talk about us, because a man who clearly deranged, because anytime you do that, and that doesn't mean that people who are mentally ill don't come in and out of lucidness. Well, you heard him say, that doesn't mean anything. The man walked around, took his shirt off, and then walked around with the KNIFE after he had done what he did. That's not a thinking person tries to get away. A thinking person would have a motive. A person who doesn't suffer in some capacity from some kind of mental illness. That's what it looks like to me. People have all kind of auditory delusions, but instead, y'all go around. If this had happened to a ADOS person, or if this happened to a black person, we would not all. It happens all the time, and you don't care. I retweeted articles where it happened and you didn't care. You're trying to stir race hatred, and I think at a certain point, which is for the most part lineage hatred, and I think at a certain point, like we should have a conversation about how that dehumanizing language is not what we need. Instead of just going around saying, oh my God, all language should be protected. We should never, you should not hurt anybody over the language, but should all languages be protected? Should you be invited? Should you be allowed to come to a school when you're trying to dehumanize a group of people? Is that up for debate? How long are we going to debate whether or not we're human enough to be here? Because of hair texture and melanin. How long are we going to do that? How long is that up for debate? Because the person working at HR who hires us, they hear it. The person who is working with us, they hear it. You create that ideology and you keep this whole system going where we are always the racialized bottom caste. Is that protected speech? Is that healthy for the country? Was that healthy today? And I know y'all, I know good and well. What's it? I can't say the name. Y'all ain't gonna get me snatched off YouTube.